Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 4 of Shootin' from the Stache. Woo! That's for my wrestling fans. I'm your host, Brandon, the owner, operator, and artist behind Desperado Metal Designs. So, in a previous episode, I talked about, booking my first show and trying to figure out how to get my name and stuff out there. And I'd learned a lot of different things from doing that particular show. Learned a lot of different things of, what not to do on the next ones. I discussed picking up my card reader, made some adjustments to my table designs, and I'd booked a couple of other shows, a lot of local stuff. I was just kind of testing the waters and trying different things out. And I don't exactly remember how I come across this one particular show, but it was right up my alley. I have a huge love for sugar skulls, the Mexican culture. I am actually half Latino by the way of my father's side. And this one particular show just really stood out to me. It was a Cinco de Mayo festival. It was obviously earlier in the year. It was kind of the first show of that particular year. Like I said, I'd already had a couple of other shows under my belt, so I felt like I had a better understanding of what I was trying to go for, what look I was trying to go for. I'd added some, t-shirts and hats and stuff like that to the overall display that I was going to have. I decided that I was going to book this particular show. I had my new merch, had my new designs. I was ready to showcase those, push them out there, and show everyone what I'd been working on. And that's what we'll be getting into today. But before that, let's get that intro. So let's see, Cinco de Mayo Festival 2017. It was actually held in our uptown area. They were really trying to push new festivals and just push diversity and things like that. And this was one of those shows where they really went for it. They had brought in a lot of different things for this particular show. They had rides for the kids, face painting, lots of different types of local vendors and makers and stuff like that. They had actually brought in this particular group that was doing a legitimate, authentic Cinco de Mayo festival dance/march. They had authentic Spanish music, Latino music. They had a lot of different, street corn vendors, taco vendors, amongst other things. They had beer vendors on site. They really had a diverse group of vendors and makers at this particular show. And it was really cool to see all of that stuff. The different music and the different cultures and just all that coming together under one umbrella for the Cinco de Mayo festival. Now, my particular booth setup, I wanted to try a couple of different things. And I have to say, it was probably one of my worst looking displays that I had or have had so far. At the time, I was looking into getting a table banner, but I kind of, screwed around, waited too long, and just didn't have a chance to get it in before the show was ready to go. So, hindsight being 2020, I definitely should have rethought this idea, but I decided that I was going to get a big piece of foam board, paint my own design on it, and that would serve in the place of the table banner until I was able to afford one and had the time to get one in before the next shows. I also had the idea of I wanted to have something to give out to the kids because I knew it was going to be kind of kid friendly. And my idea for that was to get black, white, and lime green, which is my basic colors for Desperado Metal Designs. I was going to get those 3 colors in balloons, and I was going to give out balloons as the kids were walking by, and of course, whoever else wanted to get one. And with my new shirt designs and my new hats and stuff like that, I was going to hang those from the tent, and basically I just had a completely different looking setup from the previous shows that I'd done. And I'll post a picture here so you guys can see the horrible looking display, or at least to me, of what that turned out to be. So once I had my setup and everything ready to go, I realized that this really isn't the best look for my tent, but it was a little too late to turn back. So I just kind of ran with it and knew that I would just definitely make adjustments on the next go around. With the Spanish music playing in the background, It was honestly kind of a smaller crowd, and I couldn't understand why because it wasn't really anything else going on that particular weekend that I remember or had heard of. It was a really cool event. It was definitely different for the area. I thought there would have been a bigger crowd coming through to kind of check out the new festival that had came around, but that really wasn't what had happened. It was definitely a slow go. A couple things that really stood out to me was everyone apparently was confused at where the beer truck was going to be. So that was kind of aggravating some people. And a lot of people were looking for the areas, to take their kids and stuff like that. And I actually do remember this one particular woman. She was walking by and she was on her phone, and I could hear very loudly, the person asking, because she was on speakerphone, saying, like, what's the festival like? Is it worth me coming down there? And the woman, without hesitation, said, I can't find the beer truck. There's nothing going on here. Don't even waste your time. I was very frustrated because I'm thinking, we have all these different vendors, these different foods, the different types of entertainment, and you're literally telling people, don't come here. There's nothing to do because you simply just couldn't find the beer truck. So that was definitely pretty frustrating, but you can't really correct that. All I kept thinking was, I hope she didn't know a lot of people that were going to come here and, kind of run them off too. So anyways, with that being said, fast forward a little bit, it was around lunchtime. Pretty decent weather. It was really cool seeing the group coming down the street, in full like Mayan Aztec get up, doing their chants and their march and their dancing and stuff like that. It was a really, really cool atmosphere. We still had the full-blown mariachi band that was playing down the street just a little ways so we could hear them perfect. A few more people started to trickle through, which was kind of cool. I was kind of in a bad spot. I was at the very end of this long line of vendors and foods and all this stuff, so I wasn't really in a good spot, but I guess I just hadn't put in my application soon enough to get a better position on that road. But nonetheless, for some reason I really thought that my balloons were going to help draw attention to the tent, and it did not. I think most people that seen them were just kind of confused. They didn't know that they were there to take. I would try to hand them out. People were looking at me kind of funny, so I knew immediately, yeah, this is going to backfire a little bit. This wasn't exactly what I'd planned. So as we're sitting there, like I said, people are kind of passing through. It's not a big crowd, but they're kind of trickling through. I kind of hear a little bit of a commotion. I see people, kind of looking, which would be to the right of me, down the street a ways, and I realize it's one of the local news channels coming through to, I guess, kind of spotlight the local festival in town. And I'll be honest, when I seen them, I wasn't super excited, but then it kind of hit me like, well, this is free exposure. Like I'd mentioned before, I'm a little shy, and the idea of being on camera, a little unexpected and stuff like that, really wasn't something I was looking forward to. But again, trying to get myself out of my comfort zone, I knew, okay, I've got a little time to prepare something to say and try to think of the questions that he's going to ask me, and basically just try my best to relax and just answer his questions and be as natural as possible. Now, one of the things that was happening while, all this was running through my head was a couple tables down from me, there was a gentleman selling different types of keychains and magnets and stuff like that. He was definitely close enough to where I could see the stuff that he had on display. He may have been 2 tables down from me, but he wasn't right beside me, but he was still fairly close. Across the street, I see where they start interviewing the people over on that side. They go about 2 tables down, and then they start to cross over to where this gentleman's sitting. Now, I don't know if this guy had warrants, if this guy was just way more camera shy than me. I'm not exactly sure what happened. But I know as soon as he seen them coming towards him, he jumps out of his chair and he bolts down the street. He cuts up by a building and he is gone. You can actually hear in the video the news guy laughing and commenting on the person running from them.
Now we're going to step over here and talk to a young man. Well, we're just going to show his stuff. He's running. He's running.
Like he did not want to be on camera for whatever reason. So anyways, they moved down to the person beside them because obviously they weren't going to talk to that guy. They interview them, and then I'm next. So they come up to me, I stand up, shake the guy's hand. He gives me an interview, which actually does turn out to be the first time I was ever interviewed as Desperado Metal Designs and on a platform to where I could, kind of push my brand and push the name. I took a screen grab from the video, so, I'll post the picture right here so you guys can take a look at that. Overall, I was super nervous. I definitely wasn't ready for that. I only had, maybe 10, 15 minutes to try to think of things to say, try to calm myself down because I was really nervous to be on camera like that. But all in all, I think it was a pretty good interview. I didn't stumble over too much. The guy was a complete professional. He already knew what he was doing, so he basically did all the work, and I just filled in the blanks with what he was asking me. So shout out to BTW21 for my very first interview as Desperado Metal Designs. And the person that was interviewing me, great job. So after the interview, he goes on. The day continues. Had a few people stop by, a couple people buy, like a couple things here and there. I remember it being definitely not like a big sales day, but it was better than the previous ones that I'd done before, which was a good thing. So it kind of meant that I was heading in the right direction, and I was pretty happy about that. I remember that show, I'd actually sold like a t-shirt, maybe like a hat or two, which was really cool too, because that was something new that I just started doing before that particular show. I may have had some at the show before that, but it was definitely one of the first times where I had like, had them on display and was really trying to push those as, another thing going towards the branded content and stuff like that. And another thing, I had just gotten my new business cards, and I just started giving those things out like they were going out of style. So I was pretty happy about that. I did get several people hit me up on, social media and, contacting me about looking into doing some custom orders and stuff like that. So all that started to really pay off too. And that was pretty cool to see, that repeat stuff coming back after the show. So it definitely was a really cool event. I don't remember them doing another show after that. I think that was kind of one of the last ones, which is disappointing because it was cool to have, a new like little festival in town. Definitely a different one from, the standard Spring Fest and Oktoberfest and, stuff like that. That's a little more generic. Kind of everybody has one. Definitely was a little bummed to see that kind of go away. I was looking for that one to be kind of like a staple show that I would do every year, and I really wanted to see it grow, but it just didn't happen. For it to be kind of a random show that popped up that I really wasn't expecting, not really having the greatest spot in line, to definitely having one of my personal worst, setup and displays. All in all, it was a pretty good show, and it was a really cool show. Like I said before, I'm definitely glad that I took the chance and tried that out. Again, it was one of my first times at a show being interviewed for anything, which was definitely seen by a lot of people. I do remember after the fact, several people that I'd worked with and, friends and stuff like that, they had seen the broadcast and seen me on there. Luckily, I didn't embarrass myself too much. I don't remember too many people talking crap about it, so that's always a plus. And, for it to be a show, fairly early on, I didn't have a whole lot under my belt at the time. Again, it was another show that I'd booked and that I'd done, and learned a lot of what am I going to change for the next one, and that's something that I hope will never change. Is always looking to improve, always looking to do a little bit better, always looking to add things or make things a little bit more streamlined and stuff like that. So even if it's not there sales wise, as long as I'm not losing money, there's always a chance to grow and learn. And you can't really put a price on that. That is something that you just kind of have to learn as you go, as you do. Just be aware of, everything that's going on and what can you do to improve on the next one. Definitely wasn't the most eventful show that I'd done. Like I said, it just wasn't a real big crowd for that. It was cool. It was different. Another takeaway, I won't forget the guy, running out of there like he had an arrest warrant or something. That was pretty funny. I definitely won't forget how nervous I was to do that first interview. I'm glad that turned out good instead of, like just completely embarrassing myself. But nevertheless, it was a learning experience. You never really know what you're going to get when you book shows and stuff, especially if it's something new or one that you've never heard of or never attended or anything like that. You never know. But again, that was pretty early on, and I definitely had a lot more shows and a lot more stories after that. Um, that one was a little on the tamer side compared to some of the ones that I booked afterwards. And I'll definitely be sharing those pretty soon. So keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully you keep coming back. Again, if you've made it this far, really appreciate it. I would just want to say thank you. As always, if you liked what you've seen, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, ask me whatever you'd like. Hit the subscribe and the bell notification so you can get some more of these episodes coming through. I definitely have some pretty wild ones coming up, so please be on the lookout for those. I really think you'll get a kick out of the ones that are yet to be told. I'm Brandon, and this is Shootin' from the Stache. Until next time, cheers.